Hey YouTubers, Raven here,
Starfire.
and today we're reviewing last week's episode of The Flash.
Season 8, Episode 13, Death Falls.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It was a great episode. It was a good episode. It wasn't exactly great. It was a good one. It was a very somber episode.
And tomorrow is going to be somber too.
Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to have to deal with the funeral.
Funeral for a friend.
So, yeah.
Which is the name of a song, by the way. By Elton John.
Ah. Yeah.
Yeah. Eddie creeped me out.
I enjoyed the Telegra stuff.
Me too.
I loved how her cousin pointing out, like, you guys had a future, like a history, you and me, but you guys had a future. And, like, you're not just watching him die, you're watching your future die. Everything you could have experienced with him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like, that was my reaction. I was like, oh,
well, I just
my
liked when,
gosh.
like, she's like, that I'm here with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they were holding hands and everything.
I got you. It's okay.
Yeah.
I loved that. And how she's like, her fault. Like, because it's not his fault that he can't come up with something.
Yeah.
Like, it's not. And he shouldn't blame himself.
Yeah, but he does.
When you're in a situation like that, I mean, especially like, that because you're overheated. So it's a lot easier to be convinced that, and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if he wasn't put in like they were, and he was being told that, oh, you can't find a way, like, you failed her. Like, I don't think he would have accepted that if he, like,
one of the things
so
that I really like about Telegra is that they have similarities to West Allen in the sense that she believes in him like, very much, and she's always there to support him.
Yeah.
And she always, gives him good advice and makes him think. And they just are nerds together, and it's cute.
They work together.
They work really well together, and they're just nerds together, and it's cute.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Like, the whole Eddie thing just
creeped me out.
Mm-hmm. It really creeped me out. I love how Joe was like, eat the detective, pretty boy. I was like, yes. It's like, I've never seen him eat before, like that actor.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really different.
It was just
weird.
Really the way that he was acting, I was like,
mm-hmm. Acting like he was still engaged to Iris, right? But, like,
I was like, stay away from me.
Yeah. But what Deathstorm said to Frost that she wasn't a real person, that she wasn't a
Oh, I
real,
know. I was just like,
like, I was
okay.
like, no. I was like, oh, hell no. Like,
Yeah, that
and
was
technically
not
speaking,
that was
that
not
wasn't kosher at
cool.
all. Um, technically speaking, I think they did something majorly wrong in this episode. They called her the anti-Death Storm, yeah?
Did they?
Yeah, like, you're the anti-Death Storm. Like, that wasn't her name, but we're making you
Mm,
into the anti-Death Storm. You know, that's what they were saying. She was going to
mhm.
be the anti, no? You can't be the anti of something if you're of the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the fact that she agreed in order for it to work, that's not the anti of grief. Grief, anti grief. Like, no. It should have worked with how much love that she felt for Katie, grief she felt over maybe losing her.
Mhm.
Like, that, like, love is the antithesis of, like, happiness, love, that's the antithesis of grief, of
Mhm.
sadness, of sorrow. You know what I mean? Like, don't be it as the anti-Death Storm if you're not,
Right.
like, that's what the previous episode, they're like, we the anti-Death Storm, and then this episode, until she named herself Hellfrost, she was, which fucking cool as shit. I enjoyed that.
That was cool.
Right, like, I'm sorry, but not that's not anti-Death Storm. It's not. And that really disappointed me because, like, Harry facing off against not his mom, right?
Mhm.
And, like, saying how, like, all of, like, she's dead. You couldn't save me. Iris is dying. You couldn't save her. Like, all this stuff. Like, your kids are, without Iris, your kids will never born. You're doomed to live this horrible life, right? And love isn't, love is strong. Love is stronger than grief, right?
Mhm.
And I thought they were building up to Frost being like a love fire type thing,
Well, like
right?
Barry said to his fake mom, he was like, love is strength. Love is a strength,
Mhm.
you know?
And
And
like, it's just that thing. Their new Speed Force is based off of love. Like, it's this whole thing. And what helped keep Chalegra, like, sane while they were burning up? It was the love they felt for each other.
yeah. Same with
At
Barry and
the end
Iris.
of the episode,
Anytime they're in like dire, like something bad is happening, they focus on that love that they have for each other. The whole lightning rod
and, like, at
thing.
the
And
end of
like,
the episode where, she's dead, right? At the end of the episode, who does everyone turn to? The person they're in love with, the person that can hold them while they let themselves fall apart, right? So why? The entire episode was about the antithesis of grief, right? Why was her power coming from everything pointed to love?
yeah, like why was all of this stuff that they were being shown? Yeah, it was like there, it was like all the people that had died in their lives that was like, and that was that grief, and that was Deathstorm doing that. But like, you know, they were still people that they loved. And
Mm-hmm.
so that grief is like going to be worse because of how close they were with those people. And
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even with what Barry said in the chamber when he was facing off against not his mom, right? Like, it was all about love. Like, everything was about love. Like, what Allegra's cousin was saying to her, like, basically, he's the person you love and you have to watch him die. Ha ha ha. You know? Like, and that's what Chester's dad was basically saying too. Like, she's the person you love, failing her because you can't rescue her. Ha 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 ha. Right? Like, it was basically love each other and you guys have to die. Ha ha ha. Right? But they were pointing love that they had for each other, and then you have Iris with E, and like she has like faith in and whatnot. Like, she's pointing out everything. She did love him, right? So she's using her knowledge of what she in order to.
She wouldn't have gotten engaged to him if she didn't love him.
Right. She's using her knowledge of of things that she loved about Eddie and knowledge that she has to trick the Eddie into doing things for her so that Sue could get to the phone. Like, she's using her knowledge of the one she loved. Like, that's still pointing to the love.
It makes me think of
who comes to save Iris? Joe, her father, who loves her. Like,
it just makes me think of, like, in Once Upon a Time, remember when, like, she was saying that, like, when was it Regina's mom who was saying that, like, love is weakness, and Regina's like, no, it's strength, and like, it just yeah. Like, that came to mind. So.
Kill Cora. What I say, Cora? I'm not talking about the Avatar. Okay.
I think that they know you're talking about Once Upon a Time.
I know. I just wanted to.
Because that's what I said.
I know. But when I think Cora, I don't necessarily think.
Yeah, but hers is spelt different. Like, hers isn't even spelt the same way.
That's true. Korra is spelled C-O-R, where Avatar is K-O-R.
The Legend of Korra is K-O-R-A.
Yeah.
They're doing a second Avatar movie. They are.
I know. I saw something for it on YouTube.
I don't care enough about it to even watch it because I haven't seen the first one. So.
I've seen the first one like 2 or 3 times because I actually really enjoyed it. Unironically, and while I don't do anything that messes with my mind, so I wasn't stoned out my mind. This is what I hear most people were, because everybody was like tripping on the colors and everything. Like, that was like the stoner's dream movie.
It's not a good movie, and it won like all these awards.
Yeah. It didn't have won all the awards that it did. It wasn't that amazing. I just liked them,
I mean, yeah, we know James Cameron is a good director. He directed Titanic, and Titanic won 11 Oscars. Like, we know. But Avatar is not one of his better movies.
I mean, and he has an idea for like a whole series of them. More than
it's like you waited what? Almost 15 years to do a sequel? Like, didn't the first movie come out in like 2008 or something like that? I don't even remember. I just remember when I watched the Oscars that year, it was like winning so many awards.
It did deserve all of them. I mean, some of them, like the technical ones, I think.
Well, yeah, like the effects and things like that, I'm sure that it did. But like, other things.
I've seen better acting. Like, I've seen better script writing.
Okay, so the first one came out in 2009. And
Fuck, it came out when we graduated.
yeah, and the second one is coming out this year, December of this year. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is in it, and Zoe Saldana, and Kate Winslet, Sigourney Weaver, and Una Chaplin.
Wait, Sigourney survived that one?
Apparently.
Oh, right. I was turned in.
She's playing Dr. Grace Augustine. She's playing Dr. Grace Augustine and Michelle Yeoh. Sigourney Weaver's playing Dr. Grace Augustine.
Yeah.
And Michelle Yeoh is playing Dr. Karina Moog.
Dr. Karina is going to be a new character, but Sigourney Weaver's not a new character. Her character, I really liked her character. I'm not sure it turned into an avatar or if she's just
I don't know. I'm not into them. Like, I'm just not.
I mean, I thought it was really cool because, like, the flying birds and stuff do those, and they suck their little end pieces, the little hair end pieces into them, able to control them, and I don't know. The whole concept of connecting to nature that they had was really good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to the Flash, the whole thing, like I was saying, is all about love, right? The entire episode was pointing to love, you know? And so I was fully prepared for Frost to walk out with, like, I don't know, some pink hair or something, you know, or like pink flame love.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like that's because she wasn't thinking of you when she was being she has to think about the love that she feels for you or for Katie.
Yeah.
And she has to let herself feel that. That's what it is. That's what it is. And then it's like, no, it's the grief. Like, what? Grief? Like, I just.
Yeah.
I know I'm just repeating myself over and over and over and over again.
No, like, I agree. I mean, like, I understand what she was doing and why she was doing it, but like, all of it connected. I mean, even Ronnie, even though he was like evil and fully Deathstorm, that was all not just the grief, but that was all related to love too. Like, there was still some semblance of him there, and he was doing this because he was latching on to Caitlin because he loved her.
Because Ronnie, right?
Like, because she was that for him. She was that connection for him. And so even though he's not himself anymore, he's still going after her because she's the only person who he feels can help him and save him. And that's because he once loved her.
Yeah. Like, I don't.
So, yeah.
I knew the grief in the entire universe was going to be too much for Frost.
But well, yeah, that was gonna be a lot for her.
Right. But like, I think she should have at least had final words.
Yeah.
Like instead of just
I was
looking
expecting that,
at
like when she opened her eyes after she gave her that, I was expecting her to say something like, you
expecting
know,
like I love you,
like
you
I love
know?
you, Katie girl, or like, you know,
or
like
I'm ready, or you
yeah,
know,
like it just felt kind of
like
weird that like
it's
she opens
okay.
her eyes and then she just closes them again and dies. Like,
Right.
there should have been something that she said that was like,
I'm ready. It's
like,
okay.
yeah, it's
Like,
okay, or I'm ready, or like I love you, Katie girl, or whatever, you know.
right.
Or like it's been a hell of a ride, or it's been something that Frost
Right.
would say, you know, like,
Or I'll always be you. You
I'll
know,
always what?
be with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
like it just
protect
felt
you.
really, it
Or
just felt really weird. Like she gives her that, she opens her eyes, looks at her, and then dies.
yeah.
Like, what was that? Like, seriously,
Really
what
bad
was
writing.
that?
That was really bad directing and writing.
I mean, we always see people who are about to die. They're like say something at the end. They always do. Characters always do that. Like they'll say, you know, I love you, or you know, it'll be like it's okay, or you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't just like open their eyes, look over at you, and then close their eyes again slowly and die.
Right.
Like, what the heck was that? I was
No
waiting.
one goes
I
like
was
that.
waiting for her
Like,
to
even
say
in
something.
real life.
I was waiting for her to say something more.
Right? I was like, okay, tell Katie that it's okay. Come on.
Like I was literally just
and then she just
watching
dies.
that.
I'm like, this doesn't even happen in real life. People don't just
I know,
look
right?
at the loved
I was
one
literally
and
just waiting for her to
Right?
say
please say something.
for her to say something. And then she just looks at her, kind of smiles, and then closes her eyes, and her heart stops. And I'm like, what?
Like,
I mean, maybe the little smile was supposed to mean something. I don't know. It just felt very contrived. It felt very
so wrong. Like Katie was robbed of closure yet
It didn't-
again. Like, what
it
the
didn't
fuck?
it didn't feel like it was a resolution. It didn't feel like it was a closure. It felt like there was
No.
something missing, and it was just
Yeah.
weird.
Katie was robbed of closure again. She deserves closure in one aspect of her life.
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, you know, she's a great actress and she definitely deserves better.
Mhm.
And I would totally not blame her if like she wasn't in much of season 9.
Yeah.
You know, because they've totally just messed with her character so much. They finally allowed her to be Frost and to like have Frost be that other part of her, and us get to see Frost in action, and then get to like learn from each other and like, you know, have that relationship with each other, and then she's taken from her. And it's like, what more does she have now?
And then there's no closure from it.
She doesn't have, she has her family in Team Flash, but she doesn't have somebody who understands her the way that Frost did. She doesn't have that person anymore. First she had it with Ronnie and she lost him, and then she had it with Frost, and now she's lost her. So she legitimately does not have anyone who understands her the way that they did anymore.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. Like when she was just sitting there sobbing, like it was so heartbreaking to see her like that.
It was.
I mean,
I was just that you all have someone to hug. But
I was just
fucking go
thinking
to
of
her.
like I mean, I wanted Killblain to have someone to hug too, but
Killblain. I kind of wanted them, like, I don't want them to get
yeah,
together.
I wanted them
But
to hug.
They should comfort each other.
They should have comforted each other. I mean, I like that Cecile went over and hugged her, but like it, you know, they should have comforted each other.
Yeah.
Like I just when I saw her, like I was just thinking of like she's been through so much loss. Like she just can't seem to ever be happy or have happiness.
No.
And it's just so sad. Like,
Yeah.
you know, the one
No.
person who she loved more than anything turned into a freaking demon. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and she's had boyfriends since then, but none that meant as much to her as Ronnie did. And
Right.
so she's never fully been happy. And I'm not saying that you have to be with somebody to be happy, but like, I'm just saying that she's very alone because even though she has Team Flash, she doesn't have she doesn't have those people who understand her the way that they did.
Right.
Barry and
Everyone is
Iris
paired
and all
off. They
them,
all
they
have
can
a
give her advice
relationship.
and they can help her and they can be there for her, but they're never going to be able to fully understand her and all the things that she's been through. You know, I mean, Barry and Iris and all of them have been through tremendous losses, of course. But
right.
Barry has Iris and they have Joe and Cecile and everything. Who does Caitlin have? She doesn't have anybody. And so,
right. I mean, her mom is life. Like,
you know, it's just Frost was literally the other part of her. Like she was that connection, an extension of her and like that part of her. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just, I can see her not having as big of a role after these episodes and the rest of this season, just because for one, she's pregnant, and two, there's not really much else that they can do with her if Frost is gone.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just going to continue to be Caitlin the doctor. Like what, you know?
That didn't get her anywhere in the first, like, what, 3 seasons? Like,
so like, you know, it's like they didn't know what to do with her.
No, they just made her like the love interest of the villain of the season. Like,
yeah. So we'll see, but I think after tomorrow's episode, like, yeah, she's directing episode 17, but I don't know like how much she's going to be in the rest of the episodes this season.
Yeah, Caitlin's going to be grieving so much.
Yeah. But I mean, if she's not on it, who's going to be the doctor?
Right? They're going to have to replace her as a doctor. Because I don't see Danielle staying. Leaving. I mean, let's be honest, she'll probably leave next season.
9. If she is on season 9, she'll probably be on like a limited number of episodes.
She's going to be leaving the first couple.
She'll probably be more of a recurring character. Like she won't be a series regular anymore. She'll probably just be like a recurring character.
Right. Or
like
she'll
Wells,
like Cisco. Like
Cisco and Wells and stuff.
Well, I mean, Wells is more of a permanently gone figure.
Now he is.
He's back every once in a while. But before. Yeah. But more of a Cisco character where she can come back if they really need her help, but has no real reason to. Dude, if Cisco doesn't come back for the funeral, or if they don't have a new Ralph for the funeral. Because
I think if they were gonna have a new Ralph, they would have already mentioned who that was.
Right. we need to have that guy wrapped up in that guy mummified again. His character needs to be there
Yeah.
because of how close they were. They were like they were so friends. Like he was
Yeah, I
one of
don't
the
know.
first friends she ever made. One of the first people she ever trusted besides Katie. Like
Yeah.
it's not okay for him not to show up.
It would be nice if Cisco was there for sure. I mean, we have a higher chance of Cisco being at the funeral than we do of Ralph being at the funeral.
Yeah.
So it's like in Supernatural when, you know, all those people should have been at the funeral that weren't there, or should have been in heaven that weren't there, you know, and we were all upset about that. Like, where's Jody? Where's these people, you know? Where's all the people that knew them and that were special to them?
So, yeah.
It just sucks when like characters that you really love don't get the kind of closure and send off that you want for them. Because it's like you put so much of your
I think that some of the other characters from some of the other shows should show up to pay respect.
Like a crossover.
All worked with her in some manner, some aspect.
I mean,
every significant character death we've had
it is, but I don't think we're gonna
people
see
to
that.
show up and I don't expect Melissa to show up. You know, maybe Tyler.
I mean, we might see Diggle. We might see Cisco.
We might get him in his lantern outfit.
We might see Diggle and we might see Cisco, but those are probably and Wells, but those are probably the only 3 people that we will probably see.
I mean, we might see Tyler or Batwoman.
Maybe.
Like,
maybe.
I mean,
I think if it was Caitlin, I think if it had been Caitlin that died, we would have seen a lot more of those people than with Frost. Because Cisco was closer with Caitlin than he was with Frost. So if it had been Caitlin that had died, we would probably have a lot more of those characters come back. But because it's Frost, I don't think we're going to.
Yeah.
I highly doubt that we will have those people on there. And if we did, they would have already, like, a lot of those people would have like hinted at it, and they haven't said anything.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, usually we find out that kind of stuff, like when somebody's coming back that we like, usually they say that or they announce it. But like, there hasn't been anything about this. So I think if it had been Caitlin, it would have been different. But because it was Frost, there's not going to be as many of those people.
Yeah.
Because more of those people were closer with Caitlin than they were with Frost.
Yeah, it's just like
I know we want to see them, but I don't think that it's gonna happen.
It's not even that I want to see them. I mean, yes, I do, but Frost deserves a bigger send off.
She does, but she's probably not gonna get it. I mean, we'll see, but I'll be really surprised if we see any of those characters.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it had been Caitlin, they would have gotten all those people. Or the majority of them anyway.
Right.
But Frost wasn't around as long. And she had a reputation with some people in the city, and you know, she wasn't as well liked as Caitlin. And
right, but they all share one universe now.
Yeah.
So the fact that a hero wouldn't show up for another hero's funeral.
I mean, we might get some surprises. Who knows? I don't know. But I doubt that we'll get like Batwoman and like Diggle and things like that. If we get any surprises, it will probably be people that are part of the Flash universe.
Yeah.
like Cisco or Wells or something, or Nora and Bart, but it's not going to be people from the other shows. They're not going to do a crossover with this episode.
Well, I mean, not a crossover, just like a high and by sort of thing.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know.
Because, I mean, the last funeral we had, that's what happened. It was a high and by thing. It wasn't an entire episode.
Well, yeah. We may get some like guest appearances or cameos or something. I don't know. But I think it's less likely with Frost than Caitlin.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong and we could get some, but I don't know. I want to be wrong, but I don't think that I am.
Right. So, are there any other points that you wanted to hit for this episode?
I'm just glad things are back to normal somewhat.
The new normal.
I mean, Iris still has her time sickness, but like, at least for the time being, she's okay.
It would have been really nice for her time sickness to kick in and Eddie to disappear.
Like, for the time being, she's okay. She can be with Barry. Like, she doesn't have to be isolated. So it's,
Well, I mean, like, we still don't know what happened to, what's his name, Devin?
Something like that.
Like, we don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, I don't think I really have anything else to say.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, but I was annoyed by some things. I'd probably give it like a 3.5 out of 5.
I really enjoyed Hell Frost's outfit though, and the hair.
Well, yeah, the outfit was cool.
Yeah, I like the hair too, like with the white streak so that you knew that Frost was in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I enjoyed how she tricked Deathstorm, with the image inducer.
That was cool.
And like, I loved the fact that he's like, I can sense it in you. You're ready. You're grief. And I'm like, dude, you just told her that she didn't have any grief because you can sense her grief. Because,
he was manipulating her.
I know he was, but like I'm just like, dude, like, Frost, this better show you that like you are just as real as Caitlin.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I think that was a moment for her that we weren't able to just like focus on for a moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean,
I was a sobbing mess after this episode.
I was sad. I was,
I mean, I had like tears streaming down my face, like literally like tears falling on my lap. Like, and like I was sniffling and like my throat was sore.
It has to be a character that's really special to you for you to cry.
It does. It does. So yeah.
Although
I knew you were going to hit on that. Yeah, he's an outlier. I think it's because of how it affected everyone else around.
Yeah.
That made me cry. For those of you who don't know, we're talking about Iron Man because I don't like.
Because he was like, regardless of how you feel about the character, he was a big.
We were with him.
He was an important. Yeah, we were with him from the beginning, and he was an important part of the Avengers. And you know, the fact that he was willing to do that he was willing to sacrifice himself
Just such a selfish character would be able to
for
do
the
that.
lives of everybody else, who started out as a very arrogant character and ends up being super unselfish and sacrificing himself for everyone. That's a huge amount of growth and character development.
Yeah.
And like, you know, so when it gets to that point, of course it's going to be emotional, because like you've gone
we've been with him for over
with the character.
We were on a journey with him for over a decade. Like,
right. And so of course it's going to make everybody emotional. But yeah, and then like, you know, Doctor Who.
Still gets me. Everything. Oh.
No, what gets me is End of Time and the ending of Vincent and the Doctor. And
yeah.
and in Time of the Era, the angels went to.
Yeah. And I mean, even Matt's going gets me sometimes. It depends on my mood.
That didn't affect me nearly as much as Tenet.
No, it didn't. But like, if I'm like
I think I was more emotional with Capaldi's ending than I was with Matt Smith's ending.
Oh yeah, I mean, they even went back and like for his ending, dude. I mean, they brought back the original Doctor, like, you know.
I was way more affected by Capaldi's ending because I got to really like him, and so I liked all three. I liked Tenet, I liked Smith, and I liked Capaldi. But for me, I think for me, it was just me more enjoying Matt Smith and being sad about it.
Right.
But with Tenet, like, he just brought such a different kind of thing to it that, like, when he left, it just left this big void. And just was really hard to get over that.
Right. And for me, with Capaldi, like, seriously, I started out like, I mean, it was his series was up there with Eccleston for me. I do not like season 1 at all.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a couple episodes here and there that I actually like, but for the most part, I do not watch season 1. I do not like it. And it's just that version of the Doctor isn't, like, I'm not saying that Eccleston was a bad actor.
Yeah, and the same with Capaldi.
But for me, I didn't connect with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I enjoyed the episodes my first time watching Capaldi's run. Like, certain episodes I enjoyed. But I never connected with him as the Doctor. He was never my Doctor.
Yeah.
And then when I rewatched the series with you, I was able to connect with him.
Yeah.
Like, on a different level, because I'd already seen the entire series.
Right.
And I, like, there were things and aspects about him that maybe I didn't notice before, or that I was able to connect with future episodes that allowed me to connect with him on a deeper level.
Right.
And he was a Doctor that you needed deeper level connection with than the other ones. The others were a lot more surface and, like, kiddie and, you know, like, child friendly type Doctors, and he was more like the brooding, depressing Doctor.
Although Matt Smith had some like serious moments. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, so did Tenet.
He did. Yeah. Like, I think, like, seriously, for me, the moment that always gets me with Tenet is that scene in End of Time.
I have so much.
Not even the ending when he says, "I don't want to go." That is sad and makes me sad. But literally the stuff before that with Wilfred, when he's inside that chamber, that whole scene, I can't.
And then he goes back and watches Donna get married. And
Wilfred's crying and he's, like, saluting him, and I'm just like, what?
Right. And then he goes back to 2005, the Christmas, like what,
Like,
a week before he meets her, before Eccleston
it
meets
just
her.
kills
Like,
me when he's just like, I could have done more. Like that whole thing just kills me. Like I
mhm.
can't.
I
And
could do so much more. The whole monologue is amazing and makes me cry every time.
and every time when they do the Doctor Who marathon and they show that, and I'm like watching that, I'm just like
Right? You're crying and recording and then texting me the recording. Like, this is what I'm watching right now.
yeah.
So then, even though I'm not watching it, I'm watching the bit you recorded and sent me, and I'm like,
I mean, I don't always like turn it on right when it's at that part, but like if I have it on and it just happens to be there and I'm like in my room and I see it, I'll just be like, oh no, this is the part.
right? I don't want to cry alone. Here, I'll send this to her.
But yeah.
Yeah, like,
And with
it's
Vincent and the
just,
Doctor, I think I cry just because of how touching it is, like
mhm.
how beautiful and touching that whole thing is.
Yeah, that
And
even if for that one moment he had hope for the future, like, he's such an inspiration that he
mhm.
deserved that,
Well,
you
just yeah,
know?
just being allowed, just
And
being given the opportunity to be able to see how much of a difference his paintings made in people's lives. Like,
mhm.
I think that's
Like,
just
that
so
all of
special
his
about it.
sorrows and trouble weren't for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that he's remembered, no matter how much people berate him and treat him like garbage now, he
Mhm.
will be remembered for the rest of time.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
whether or
But
not that changed his future, it doesn't
but I
matter.
mean, like,
It brought him satisfaction in that moment, you know?
I got emotional with Frost, but like, I think it would have been more so if it had been somebody else.
Oh, I think it would have been more so for me if it was anyone, like, if it was, I mean, I've grown pretty close to Allegra.
I
I don't
mean,
think I would have. I don't think I would have cried if it was Chuck.
if it was Joe, if it was Caitlin, if it was Iris, if
Mm,
it was Barry, if it was any of those people, I would have full on,
Cecile,
I would have Cecile, I would have probably full on sobbed. But because,
right?
and I liked Frost and I liked being able to see her, but I think because I didn't have as much of that connection with her as like you did,
Hmm.
I was sad and I did cry, but like it wasn't as much as maybe somebody else.
Right. You see, it's so weird that, like, I ended up with such a connection with Frost because in the beginning, remember how much I hated her? I was like,
Well, it was because of the way that they were
they're
doing her.
bringing.
That's
I
why.
know they brought her out with the death of puppies. Like, what the, like,
Because
they're
you like
killing
really
puppies.
wanted to see Frost, and then they were just like not doing her justice. And then when they finally like
Hmm.
started having her be a part of it, then it was better.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I If it was Caitlin, I don't think I would have been as affected, which is saying something for a character that's been there for every fucking season.
yeah.
Like, if you have a main character that the majority of your fan base won't cry over if they're dead, then something's seriously fucking wrong with your writing.
I was never, I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean, I like Danielle Panabaker, but I was never
Yeah.
like a big Caitlin fan. I never really have.
No,
I've just
me
never
neither.
really, I've never really been that invested in her character.
No.
For
And
me,
it's because of how they
for
write
me,
her.
it's literally been Barry and Iris.
Mm-hmm. I think that if they were able to write her personality a lot better and give her, like, a storyline.
I mean,
You know?
I love a lot of the other characters too, like Coach Allegra and Cecile and Joe and Cisco and all of them. But like
Yeah.
for me, one of the big reasons why I love the show and watch the show is because of Barry and Iris.
Right.
And so, you know, Caitlin was never, I mean, if they'd given her more to do, I would have cared more, but I never
If
really
they gave her more, right.
was a fan.
Right.
So
If they gave her more of a story, like more focus episodes, like they've given Chester, they've given Allegra, they've given Chalegra, like full on like focus moments and focus show episodes, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, well, okay, where's Caitlin? She's been there for going on nine seasons almost now. We're at the end. We're towards the end of 8, right?
Yeah.
Almost. She's almost been there for 9 seasons. Over 8 seasons now. Like, definitely over 8 years because we took a break. Like, and she's never gotten a true just Caitlin episode where we could learn more about her. She's always just there, and the plot, like, and she moves around the plot. The plot never moves around her. The only time the plot ever moved around her was when she was Killer Frost.
Yeah.
Was when she was the bad guy and she couldn't control herself, and Frost was in control the entire time.
Right.
Even when she was in and out of Frost, when they were both sharing their body, you never really got an episode with Caitlin. You never really focused on Caitlin. It was always like, how do we bring Frost out? Oh, here's a way to bring Frost out. We need Frost's help.
Yeah.
It was never
because Frost is the more interesting character.
Because they fucked over Caitlin.
Because they didn't do
wrote her
anything with
correctly.
Caitlin, and that's sad that they didn't do anything with her character.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the CW has a real problem with like figuring out what to do with like ensemble cast, because Legends, Flash, like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these people left because they didn't feel like their characters were going anywhere.
Yeah.
And they didn't like the direction that the writers were taking them in.
Yeah. Which is why Ray left.
Yeah. And we lose really good characters because of sucky writing.
Yeah.
And it's just sad.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Yep. So I guess
until next time.
Keep
believing in the impossible.